Look at that. Oh my gosh. This is wild. Hey there. Okay. I'm here to tell you 10 reasons why self-driving is going to get adopted faster than you think. There's a limited area where the Waymo cars operate in Phoenix. It's all somewhat experimental, and it's a test market for them. Reason number one why I think these will be adopted quickly is that the app that you use to book them is just like Uber. In fact, I think they partner with Uber, and it's super easy to do. And it's no different than you would use for any other sort of app rideshare based program. How do I get in? Hey there, look at that. This is my name. I couldn't get in until I hit unlock. So now I'm gonna hit start ride.
Hello from Waymo. As we get going,
This is
give us 1 minute
crazy.
to cover a few riding tips. This experience may feel futuristic, but the need to buckle up is to stay fasten, please.
Okay,
If you're traveling with little ones,
it's mad at me.
microphones
Jeez.
are only on when you're connected at any time. In the rare case of an emergency, please keep your seatbelt fastened and remain in the car unless there's an urgent need to exit. Rider support will connect with you and provide assistance.
This is
Finally,
amazing.
relax and thank you for riding with us.
This is freaking awesome. Oh my God, there's a car coming. Look, it is pulling out. It's merging slowly. It knew that car was coming. Oh my God. We were going 30, wow, we're going 40 miles an hour. And it's holding the speed perfectly. Is the speed limit. Okay, so far it's completely uneventful besides the completely eerie feeling that the car is a ghost and it's just driving by itself. This is crazy. The wheel making minor corrections. We have cars all around us. It's staying in the lane. As you can see, there's self-driving software detects other vehicles. If you compare this to Tesla, see the other vehicles are just bricks. Like in a Tesla, you can see the shape of the other vehicles enough that you can almost determine what they are, what make and model they are. I don't know, maybe they're just showing us something just for our own comfort here. It's the same thing on the screen up there. Look, it's got its blinker on, it's moving over into the left lane. Oh my gosh, look at it. It's fixing its position. Oh, this is freaking wild. Oh my God. And it's making a left turn. There's another Waymo car. Hello. Hi, Waymo. Number two is the safety aspects of the getting into the car, the way that it unlocks for you and then locks when you're in it, and then the way that it makes sure that you're safe before you exit. And I'll show that a little bit later in the video. Number three is that since there's no driver, drivers aren't exposed to certain safety incidents. Drivers aren't exposed to passengers that can't be trusted, or they aren't forced to drive into bad areas. So now it knows the light is red. And it just noticed that it turned green. Wow. There's another Waymo. It's navigating this little turn here. So we're coming into kind of a private drive area for the conference hotel. And it knows where it's going. Looks like there's a button. If I wanted it to pull over, I could just hit that and it would drop me off. I couldn't even ask for it to play music. This console looks like it's Waymo specific, even though this is a Jaguar. A Jaguar.
Almost at your drop-off. Check the app for walking directions. For your safety, the doors will remain locked when we arrive. Pull the handle twice to exit. The first pull unlocks, the second opens the door.
Okay. It just avoided a pedestrian. Wow. It's turning left. It's kind of freaking out. I don't know what is its deal. Are you dropping me off here? Oh, okay. I guess that's what we're doing. All right.
You're here. Please make sure. Person approaching.
Yeah, I see him. There's a dude running. Okay. So I'm gonna get out now.
You're here. Please make sure.
Number 4 is this is actually an opportunity for some drivers. If drivers can afford to buy a car now for Uber, imagine if they could buy their own self-driving car and then have that run more hours per day while the driver is doing something else. The tech is actually super good. I didn't expect it to operate as well as it did. It was able to avoid oncoming traffic. It was able to recognize lanes. It was able to see pedestrians and navigate around them. And it was smart enough to understand that later in my route, it was going to get dead-ended somewhere and it didn't want to go there. So it dropped me off before it got to that area. So another reason why I think that self-driving is going to occur much faster than we think is that the hours and the learnings from these vehicles are compounding at an insane rate. If you look at the advancements of AI just in the last few years, this is not just a Moore's law kind of thing. This is a compounding logarithmic growth rate. And the Elon Musk has said for Tesla's self-driving Dojo, for example, that their level of compute is on an enormous scale, equivalent to the level of compute that's been required in the past for entities like Google. And now as they continue to adopt more chips and better chips that NVIDIA is putting out and others, they are able to accelerate this growth, and it gets smarter and smarter every day. Each self-driving database, let's say, collects all these numbers of incidents from every single driving car that's out there. And each new incident that's added, each new instance of time that's added to that database is another data point to put into the training database to make it smarter. So it compounds on itself. Every minute, every hour that a car drives, it adds to that database. So the next car that comes in already knows all of that. So Waymo advertised this, for example, saying this is the most experienced driver on the planet with over 7.1 million miles driven or something like that. You know, next generation vehicles are going to be not just twice as smart, but probably 10 times as smart. And then the generation after that is another 10 times smarter. So it's a very fast growth rate, faster than we would expect. You know, some people are going to be scared. They're going to think that there's some safety risks associated with it. And presently what you hear is a lot of bad things about it. You hear people saying that these are dangerous. You hear only the bad stories. There was the instance in San Francisco where a Waymo car hit a pedestrian and it stayed parked on her, and they didn't know how to move it. They didn't know how to disable it. And so this poor woman was trapped under the car for a while. And I heard in Phoenix that one of the Waymo cars hit a homeless man as he was crossing the street. And the guy that was telling me that was an Uber driver. And in fact, he even admitted, well, any of us driving down the road could have that happen. It happened at night. They didn't see it. The car ran into the man, and unfortunately, the man died. So you only hear about those bad instances. And so there's plenty of good instances. If you look at the rate of accidents per mile, it's far lower than it would be for a human. And so this is, like I said, this is only going to improve. So another reason is that it's just really cool. It's really fun. You get in the car and you're having a great experience, and you're watching it work, and it's just fascinating. It is just a really cool experience. If you're into futuristic things, if you're into advancements in technology, if you're intrigued by new things that you didn't think are possible, try it and you'll really enjoy it. If you get a chance to be in a test market and ride in one, go do it. And this isn't an advertisement for Waymo. This is an advertisement for anything. So when you hear Elon Musk talk about self-driving cars and potentially the revenue potential of Tesla, if they were to, say, produce their own Model 3s and just put them out into the wild as self-driving taxis and run that business as a Tesla business, I could easily see how that would be very, very profitable. If you think about it, these vehicles can effectively operate 24 hours a day. They need to be charged, of course, but if you had a fleet of them, their uptime would be far greater than a fleet of humans. And they have very little maintenance. Electric vehicles are very high mileage vehicles. They don't have oil changes. Their brake changes would actually be far less because they're electric and they have regenerative braking. So the level of maintenance on these cars would be much lower than a normal taxi fleet, and the uptime per vehicle would be much higher. So it's a complete upset of the existing taxi fleet model. And when you hear Elon Musk say this stuff, you probably write it off and you think that's just him saying more things and he's exaggerating because he always exaggerates timelines or he exaggerates the features of a vehicle. But in reality, after being in one, I could see how this is actually completely possible. And it's just a matter of time. Regulatory adoption, I think, is going to happen faster than expected because of the fact that Waymo has been able to do these test markets in Phoenix or San Francisco. They've demonstrated an infinite number of scenarios where these vehicles are operating safely, or they've avoided accidents, or they've done something that maybe a regular driver would not. Maybe in these test markets, they'll be able to expand them, go to a wider area and continue to demonstrate it. As far as I understand, these vehicles, in particular, these Waymo vehicles in Phoenix are not allowed to operate on the highways. And I could understand why that would be that'd be really disconcerting, actually. When I got in the vehicle, it went onto a somewhat busy city street, maybe a main throughway of the city street. It was 2 lanes on either side with a center turn lane. And it was a 40-mile-per-hour speed limit. The car I was in was a modified Jaguar I-Pace, so it's an electric car, so it's got really good acceleration. And the car did not accelerate aggressively, but it accelerated briskly. And it went right up to 40 miles per hour and stopped and stayed at that speed. And just going that fast in the car was, at first, somewhat shocking. I'd only been in the car about 2 minutes. This is my first time ever in a self-driving car with nobody else in it. It's just me and this robot driving the car. And so that was a bit frightening. I can't imagine what it would be like on a freeway. But it didn't take long for me to see that it was doing everything correctly. It was staying in the lane. It was very aware of traffic around it. And it's possible for them to be on a freeway. And I think that will be very interesting when they start to open that up. So I think regulatory adoption will come probably piecemeal in certain jurisdictions, certain cities, and then that rate will slowly increase until a lot of major cities demonstrate that it's possible, and then smaller cities will start to adopt, and eventually it'll just go nationwide.